Hello. You know what I think we should do?
I really hate it when you start a sentence like that.
I think we should do the news first.
Why?
Because I want to. I don't know why. I just feel like it. I feel like that'd be interesting and different. Like this episode, because this episode's already interesting and different.
Do the clickbait title topic last?
Which one is clickbait?
I'm Jacob, he's Spencer, this is dimecomicbros. I say we do Resident Evil 5 last.
Yes.
Yes. So it edges the listeners.
Oh yeah, I love edging.
Or they just click to the end.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. So
welcome back to another episode.
Yeah, we're here again.
This is a fun episode where we only have one game review. We played it in co-op. It's going to be Resident Evil 5. But until then, we're here to talk about video games and video game news and video game movies and TV shows and anything video gamey.
Microplastics.
In your balls.
Dude, I probably do have microplastics in my balls.
I saw an article recently that, like, every guy has literally microplastics in their balls. It's just a thing now.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We're built different.
Yep. They means our balls will last longer.
They're more durable.
Yes.
Yeah.
They erode less and less.
They retain their elasticity a bit better.
They bounce better.
True. From TheVerge.com. One day after Microsoft announced that it would shut down 4 of its game studios, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. Not that division. Quote, "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," end quote, Booty told employees, according to the internal remarks shared with The Verge. For some listeners on the call, it was a surprising goal. Microsoft had just shut down the Japanese developer Tango Gameworks, which was coming off the small, prestigious hit title, Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, which was a surprise release last year, it was praised for its innovation and charm. The rhythm action game featured music by the Black Keys and 9 Inch Nails with an art style that evoked the hyper-stylized games of the PS2 era.
Yep.
Just 4 months after its release, Hi-Fi Rush hit 3 million players. During the 2023-2024 awards season, the game went on to win a Game Award, a Game Developer's Choice Award, and a BAFTA. While Microsoft hasn't shared sales data, it was apparently happy with the game. When rumors swirled that it wasn't doing well commercially, Aaron Greenberg, vice president of Xbox Games Marketing, wrote on, I'm still calling it Twitter, fuck you, that Hi-Fi Rush, quote, was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations, end quote. AKA, Microsoft is fucking dumb and gay and I don't like them.
Also, the day that Xbox closed the studio, Hi-Fi Rush hit Humble Bundle monthly, like the PlayStation monthly giveaway thing or the Xbox monthly giveaway thing. But no, it was the Humble Bundle one. So now it has a whole bunch of new players.
It's so bad.
And it's making big waves because it's being discovered by a new crowd. And then, like, less than a day later, they were like, we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush.
From a studio. We closed yesterday.
Yes.
So stupid.
Very big and stupid.
I felt the need to include it just to shit on them.
Oh, absolutely.
So dumb. Because we covered those game studios closing last month or last episode.
Yes.
And this article came out while I was editing.
Yep, it's true.
Very dumb. I actually, just to say, I will eventually actually play Hi-Fi Rush because it does look pretty fucking cool.
It is.
I just have other stuff to do. Maybe by the end of this year.
Xbox has put themselves in a really weird spot where they are, like, relying on PlayStation to... Well, no, I don't know. They're relying on Game Pass to sell Xboxes. And they don't have, like, any exclusives. They've killed Halo. And they've bought up all kinds of companies to just close them. And then they're upset because they don't have exclusive games, where they've literally been working away from that for the last several years. They even said that was their goal. So something's going on behind the scenes. I don't get it.
Just a note that I feel the need to put in. Resident Evil 5 is the highest selling game of the series.
What?
Not including the remakes. That is insane.
That's very weird.
Very strange. Anyways.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yes, it is.
From Variety.com, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Tomb Raider has been ordered to series at Amazon's Prime Video. Fleabag creator Waller-Bridge will write and executive produce the show based on the iconic Tomb Raider video game franchise, which follows the adventures of archaeologist and adventurer Lara Croft. The series was first reported as being in development at The Streamer in January 2023.
We covered that.
Okay. Amazon announced the Tomb Raider news out of its upfront presentation, which was held at the Pier 36 event space in New York City. If I could tell my teenage self this was happening, I think she'd explode, Waller-Bridge said in a statement released shortly after the news was announced. Tomb Raider has been a huge part of my life, and I feel incredibly privileged to be bringing it to television with such passionate collaborators. Lara Croft means a lot to me, as she does to many, and I can't wait to go on this adventure, bats and all.
So, yeah, we did cover when this was rumored. I'm a massive fan of hers, like mega so. It is also good that she's still not starring in it. Not that she wouldn't do well, but that she doesn't have to be in front of the camera. I think her time on Dial of Destiny, despite Dial of Destiny not being great, might have actually helped with this in terms of getting more sense of like the logistics of doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a cool overlap. I do think she actually does sound genuine. Usually whenever like something like this happens, it's like, yes, it's my favorite thing. I've always loved this. Like maybe it's just because I'm a massive simp for her, but I actually believe that she played the games when she was a kid because she's like 35 now.
Yeah.
And also just knowing her writing style, this shit gonna be funny.
Yeah.
We are not gonna have, like, it'll probably be graphic and stuff, but I don't think this is gonna have the, I think it's gonna lean more in the older game direction than the newer game direction, if that means anything. Which I think is cool. So that'll be cool. And especially to pair it alongside Netflix's anime one that's coming out, I believe, this year.
Shoot
with
the
Haley
dinosaurs in the face.
Exactly, with the bazooka.
Yes.
Don't fall in the knife pit.
Nope.
Yeah. I have full confidence that show will be good. Like,
do you think someone will get blow darted in the ass?
That'd be great. She has such a good sense of humor. Like, it's dirty and raunchy and very, like, it's not like edge. It's like, it teeters on like black comedy and then like juvenile. It's really like a black comedy, gross out, and then just like, but
something black juvenile.
The exaggerated swagger of a black teen. We are not talking about Spider-Man this episode. From Kotaku.com, fresh off the release of Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, Microsoft has reportedly greenlit the next project from developer Ninja Theory.
Xbox said, holy fuck, somebody made a good game right when we're doing a bunch of stupid stuff. Yeah, do it again, please.
True. Apparently, Senua's Sacrifice was also really good. This is another series that I just know I will like, but I refuse to get into because I have to beat back the backlog first.
It seems like the first game made much bigger waves than the second game because big plot twist or whatever. I guess everybody went into the second one kind of expecting the same thing.
Yeah, it also came out like 2 weeks ago.
Still getting a lot of praise, but not, I don't know, in my circle it doesn't seem like it's as big as the first one.
Yeah, you can compare that, I guess, to like God of War, I guess.
But,
maybe.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But also, it's like a 6-hour game, the first one. So,
and it's pretty.
You have no excuse of, I need to beat down the backlog.
It's beat down something.
Sitting.
Shut up. The studio, which was acquired by Microsoft in 2018 for $117 million, Halo, has earned a reputation. I hate myself.
I don't even have to say anything. You just know you're being dumb.
But I like being dumb. Has earned a reputation for creating high-quality narrative action games. That's something it has recently delivered more of in Senua's Saga, which there's a link to their review. But even with a proven track record, the swath of recent studio closures at Microsoft has fans worried Ninja Theory would not release another game until now. According to a report from Windows Central, Ninja Theory has been given the go-ahead to start development on a new project. The article clarifies that this new project is not the same as Project Mara, the experimental psychological horror title from the studio that was announced in 2020. Cool. This is all good. Make good stored games that are shiny and make me continue to want to buy my Xbox because I hate PlayStation's controllers. It is genuinely the primary reason I don't want one. Like, I will get one to play the exclusives, but, like, Xbox as a brand is just way more interesting, and their controllers are better for me. Fuck the DualSense. I don't like it.
Wow. What if I buy you the handicapped child's controller for your PlayStation? Would that make you happier?
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay.
Whenever I actually get a PS5 at some point, or I just steal Colin's, I will probably get like the highest quality knockoff controller I can get that is configured like an Xbox controller.
And then you'll still have to look down when it says press X.
Probably.
You're like, well, fuck, I want a PlayStation, but I'm using an Xbox controller.
Yeah, does it mean Xbox X or does it mean PlayStation X? Yeah. No, because like, I'm only gonna if I'm playing anything like cross-pad, it's gonna be on Xbox. I've been playing on Xbox my entire gaming career, basically. So like, I'm only gonna play exclusive games on a PlayStation.
From comicbook.com, earlier this year, the first 3 Tomb Raider games were given the re-release on modern platforms with remastered visuals and other improvements. Unfortunately, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered was not given a physical release, but that will change very soon. Crystal Dynamics and Limited Run Games have announced physical versions for PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox. Pre-orders are open right now, and it will cost $30. That's actually a pretty good bargain, as it's the same cost as the digital version, minus the shipping fee.
This is one of the rare re-releases of games of this era that turned out well recently.
And it's kind of strange, because everybody was like playing it and going, holy shit, these are harder than we remembered, because it's really, really precise platforming.
A lot of game logic has changed
like,
since then.
Old tech of like no invisible lines of safety, like you have to do perfect jumps, and it's not the easiest game.
Yeah, I've actually been watching a few streams of it. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially when compared to the Battlefront re-release that came out like the same week.
They're still good games, so I'm impressed that they're actually going with a physical release.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll actually buy it now that it's going to be a physical release.
Wow.
And dude, $30?
Yeah, for
on an
games,
Xbox. On
a disc.
I mean, it's probably still going to be a fucking download key, but fuck it. It'll make my brain happy. From Kotaku.com, a year after Redfall's disastrous launch. You remember that?
I wanted to talk about this, actually. I don't know what this article is talking about. But, the developer, Arcane, was the same company that made Prey, that you loved so much.
I'm aware. It's in the article.
Okay. I did not remember that. So it was a huge disappointment that Redfall sucked balls.
Yep. Microsoft announced it would be closing the beloved studio behind it, Arcane Austin, like Austin, Texas. But it sounds like Game Pass's vampire shooter will still get the big final update Arcane's devs were working on after all.
Wow.
Thank you for all your supportive messages, the studio, which also worked on critically acclaimed immersive Sims Dishonored and Prey, both bangers, wrote in an update on the Redfall Twitter account. Thank you for correctly saying Twitter. It's not X. Fuck you. Fuck Elon Musk. We are working to release our final update, Game Update 4, that brings revamped neighborhood and nest systems, single-player pausing, offline mode, and more. We'll provide additional details soon. Thank you all. This is really good. Even if the game is good and like it's still crap, like now it'll be if the studio's gonna close and that means the servers will probably get shut down, they're putting offline mode in it. So you can play it now, even if it's bad. You can still play it.
Offline mode was promised from the very beginning. So there's a YouTube channel, Gamers, but instead of the A, it's a V. GVMERS.
I remember.
Yes. One of the best YouTube channels for video game content out there. It's one of my favorites. I'm this close to becoming patron to keep them alive because I need more.
Wow.
But they just released a video about Redfall. It's like 20 minutes long. And they end the video with the shutdown of Arcane. And they're like, it's too bad because they were literally saying they're days away from releasing this patch and we're not going to get it. So this came out within the last couple days that they're actually going to release the patch. And it is going to be like the Taken King for Destiny 1. Like, it could very well be that patch that fixes the game and makes it really good, actually.
Maybe not necessarily that far, but I think it would more... The thing, I guess the angle that I'm thinking about it is, like, the devs now have, like, they have their timetable. They've been told, whatever date it is, the studio is closing.
Right.
You are either being terminated or being moved somewhere else. So if any of the devs that really cared about this game, no matter how it turned out, they have the odds of them just going like completely ham are very high, in my opinion. I don't think that they would half-ass this now. I think there'd be a couple, but I think most of them would be like, if this is the last impression we can make on this game before we either get fired or move somewhere else, they're gonna willingly do crunch time. They're gonna go nuts.
I'm saying that it was ready to ship when they were told they were closing. Like, that's how close it is. And it's not just the offline mode that's been promised since before the game
There's a lot of
came out.
stuff.
It's just a ton of stuff, like balancing and just so much stuff. This is going to be huge. I can't wait to see how it turns out.
I might, when it hits the $20 rack, I'll play almost anything for $20, to be fair. I said almost.
Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Yes.
You dirtbag.
For $20?
No.
Yes.
No.
What about for $5? I didn't say complete, I said play. For a reasonable length of time.
I would play Gollum for $3.
What about $3 and a penny? What about $2.99?
That's less than $3?
Wait, is $2.99 not enough for you?
I mean, $3 or less would make me play Gollum. Yes.
Interesting.
Because I could probably get 3 minutes out of it.
Just the opening, like the
opening cinematic.
Yeah, or like the title screen animation. It's like, wow, that's pretty. It's the only thing that looks good.
Yep. From comicbook.com, this year has unfortunately been filled with video game developer studios closing and or laying off the talented people who build games that so many people love. And as the first half of this year reaches its curtain call and companies are planning their financials for the next fiscal year ahead, there are difficult decisions to make. Unfortunately, the latest studio to announce the impacts of the current economic environment is Phoenix Labs, the studio behind Dauntless and Fae, F-A-E, Farm. Per the announcement made by Phoenix Labs, the studio is restructuring in order to, quote, pave a path for a strong future, end quote, which includes canceling in-development titles and laying off members of the teams working on those games. Specifically, the announcement states that Phoenix Labs is restructuring and focusing on the above two mentioned titles and supporting their corresponding communities, quote, unfortunately means canceling work on all other projects at the studio, which will impact many of our colleagues immediately. We are giving notices to everyone whose roles are affected. This restructure has not come easily and truly has been the last resort to ensure Phoenix Labs can survive and thrive in the long term. It's impossible to put into words how deeply we value every talented individual, blah, 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 end quote. The announcement continues with more quotes. We are doing all we can to help our departing team members in this interim period and encourage any studios looking for incredible talent to speak with the one-of-a-kind people that have been a part of the Phoenix Labs journey, end quote. The layoffs have reportedly impacted about 140 former employees per Polygon's Nicole Carpenter, who also indicated that one of the canceled games was due to be announced soon. This was confirmed by one of the developers who was impacted by the layoffs, former UX lead Noah Watkins, who wrote on LinkedIn, "The most frustrating part is how close we were to announcing our new game that many have spent 5+ years on."
Ouch.
Yep.
At least they're trying to get them some attention so they can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like the bare minimum, but a lot of them don't even do that. Dude, legit imagine, like, how long have you been at your job?
6 years.
Almost as long as you... Wait, 5 years... If I had been working on this game, it would have been when I turned into an adult to now.
Yes.
And it doesn't get released. It doesn't even get announced.
Yeah, nobody knows anything about it.
And I get fired.
Yep.
It's got to be devastating.
That's how it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It sucks because games are getting bigger and bigger and more intensive, so it takes longer and longer to work on them.
Yep. And
with a shitty economy of video games, like, it's just a huge crapshoot.
Yep. From TheVerge.com, It seems no industry is safe from consolidation, and the latest target is gaming media. IGN Entertainment has acquired the website portfolio of UK publisher Gamer Network, which operates a number of beloved games-focused publications. That list includes GamesIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, two of my favorites, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and the tabletop site Dicebreakers. The network also holds shares in sites like Nintendo Life and Digital Foundry.
Holy crap, how does this not break monopoly laws? Like, jeez.
Yeah. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. GamesIndustry.biz reports that some redundancies have been made across the sites, though it's not clear how many workers have been impacted. According to several posts on Twitter, editors at both Rock Paper Shotgun and GamesIndustry.biz have been laid off. IGN Entertainment is now owned by Ziff Davis, which in addition to IGN's website also operates other subsidiaries like Humble Bundle, Jacob's favorite thing to walk the face of the earth.
It is not.
It kind of is, though. No, not 1 week goes by where you do not either mention or send me a Humble Bundle that I never look at.
That is not true.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some bangers lately. All of Hellboy, all of TMNT.
I'm not saying it's not good. It's just I'm doing it out of principle at this point, just to piss you off. The news comes as games media, like the rest of the industry, has been thrust into a period of dramatic upheaval, brought about in part by the sudden rise of AI, changes to Google, and shifting editorial strategies, aka even more search engine optimization. In the wake of this, several independent sites like Aftermath, formed by former Kotaku staff, have appeared. And then when I was doing this, I made sure to link you to Aftermath.
Yep.
It's goofy, like so.
I'm already on it.
Of course you are. So like
no. I mean, because you sent it to me, I was like, yes, sign me up.
Yeah, like it's free, but you have to subscribe, which is weird. But I'm assuming it helps with like retention rate. Mm-hmm. And like on the one hand, it does more of what you don't like about Kotaku in terms of a lot of their articles are very editorialized. But it's also a site run by like what I'm assuming is like 20 fucking nerds in their basements being like, we fuck our old bosses, we're gonna like report on stuff, and we're going to like, they're just like calling out shit. They're just like, yeah, this studio closed, fuck you guys.
I like it.
I appreciate it, even though whatever it is, sometimes everyone posts cringe, it's fine. But Aftermath has been pretty cool. I followed that when they started like making it, I guess, a couple of years ago.
Google has been implementing the AI results, and it's been awful.
Garbage.
My personal favorite was a solution for depression is throwing yourself off the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's so funny, but yes, it's really bad.
I mean, it's technically not wrong.
It is a solution. Yeah, no, well, we went from like the Google giving you the suicide prevention like hotline number and then Bing telling you to kill yourself to now Google is also telling you to kill yourself. It's not good. Yeah, it's such a shame because like we inevitably have to use IGN sometimes because like not everyone who works there is a demon. Like sometimes they do
such a huge company that you can't avoid it now.
Yeah, like sometimes they get really good exclusives and they do have pretty high like editorial standards in terms of that stuff, not on their reviews, but like the rest of the like the news reporting and stuff. That's so much, and it's owned by one fucking guy.
Yep. From comicbook.com, a new Nintendo console is currently in the works, and while there's very little we actually know about it so far, Nintendo has started to offer a handful of details. One thing that we know for sure is that Nintendo will continue to release physical copies of its games surprising win, making them available both in stores as well as digitally through its own eShop. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa confirmed as such in the company's latest financial results briefing, answering a question about future games. Quote, "Our objective is not to simply increase the share of digital sales, but to maximize overall game software sales, including sales of physical software. This policy will remain unchanged going forward," said Furukawa. Furukawa's statement seems pretty definitive and makes sense given Nintendo's business model. Keeping physical games in circulation makes it easier for them to be purchased by parents and relatives as gifts, particularly for younger fans. It also keeps retailers more invested in selling Nintendo hardware, while Nintendo might be able to sell software digitally. It's going to need companies like Target, Walmart, and GameStop to sell consoles, and that's going to be important with the tentatively named Nintendo Switch 2 coming next year. At the end of the day, physical games give the company more market presence. Also, I love sitting at work and my coworker's like, "Hey, I bought this cool game. here, and he gives me a cartridge that I just pop in and it fucking works right there.
Yeah.
Like old school cartridges. I love it.
I have a feeling that the Switch 2 will probably end up having different either the cartridges are going to get a lot bigger, or they might switch to a disc-based system, because the amount of shit they've been able to compress is impressive. But especially
it's getting old. And they're running out of things to compress.
Even when they started putting like third-party games on there, like Doom and Skyrim and stuff,
Witcher.
It's rough.
Yeah,
and they're trying. But
some of them aren't that bad, and it's surprising. Like my coworker started playing No Man's Sky, and he was like, I watched over his shoulder. It looked pretty good.
That's probably because of its graphical style, but like it's good. Physical things are good. Best Buy is, I didn't get a news article for this, but Best Buy is going to stop selling physical media. What the fuck? Best Buy. No more movies at Best Buy. I want to die. Now I have no reason to go there.
Right? That's all I went there for.
Fucking
I don't
stupid.
need your Best Buy TV.
Yeah.
Or your Best Buy fridge. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I give Nintendo a lot of crap for like maintaining such high market prices on their games and stuff, but it is because they usually ship complete and in the box.
Yep.
And those games are worth a lot because people are always looking for them, you know.
Yep.
So it is that is a problem, but like in this current market where both the other two are having discless models, and I think whatever next gen we get is almost certainly going to be entirely digital. Yeah, I respect Nintendo. I hate to say it, but like sometimes their boomerisms are helpful.
Yes, very good.
From Kotaku.com, Sony has named existing company veterans Herman Hulst and Hideki Nishino as new heads of PlayStation. Hulst will take over and run a new studio business group, while Nishino is in charge of the platform business group. The division of roles replaces former CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Jim Ryan, who retired earlier this year, and it comes as Sony searches for its next PlayStation 5 blockbusters amid cost-cutting and cancellations. Sony Interactive Gaming is a dynamic and growing business that delivers incredible entertainment experiences through the connection of content and technology. Interim S3E CEO Hiroki oh my gosh, my brain. I'm American. Hiroki
Totoki.
Thank you. Said in a press release, these two leaders will have clear responsibilities and will manage strategic direction to ensure the focus remains on deepening engagement with existing PlayStation users and expanding experiences to new audiences. Both will continue reporting to Totoki, who is also Sony's president, COO, and CFO. Originally the head of Guerrilla Games, makers of Killzone and Horizon Zero Dawn, Holst was promoted to head of PlayStation Studios in 2019, following the departure of Sean Layden. He's responsible for overseeing Sony's first-party game development, including hits like Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok. Nishino was previously in charge of PlayStation platform technology and experiences, which he will continue to lead in addition to now being in charge of third-party relations and commercial operations. Both men take over their new roles on June 1st. I actually think this is pretty cool. It reminds me a bit of the new DC Studios setup, where we have James Gunn on the story side, and then we have Peter Safran on the business side of things, whereas like there's a little bit of overlap, but it's primarily guy to make the deals and guy to make the shit. And this is similar of we have our in-house stuff and our external party stuff, and then like business relations. And I think that's a good split.
And they answer to a guy.
Yeah.
The DC thing, they're both the guy, but Sony answers to the guy.
Yeah. I think that's pretty neat.
It seems kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, it is just respectable to be like, yeah, this guy used to be a developer.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A developer on big games.
Yeah, good PlayStation games too.
Yes.
Like that's actual American dream shit. Except it's in Japan. Like for once somebody gets to actually move up in the thing that they want to do in life. That's cool. At the end of the news, baby.
PlayStation win.
Sadly, yes. Xbox has been having a lot of L's lately.
It's surprising. I
know.
I'm starting to feel bad for them. Like, Xbox needs a win.
It's so dumb because they keep spending so much fucking money and getting they pull in so much stuff that there is quality, and they make the wrong decisions with it.
Yes.
They're like, nah, kill that studio, kill that game, fuck up Game Pass.
Todd Howard, are you still working on Skyrim 6? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool, good.
Pretty much. Are you still going to use the same engine from 30 years ago? Yeah, that's fine. like, oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. Especially because usually Xbox has a lot of those more like consumer friendly decisions, like Game Pass and like everything post Xbox One, basically, because they had to compete really hard. They did a lot of really good stuff, and this like past year, there's been some good games and good updates or whatever, but like the majority of the business decisions, especially since they started acquiring Activision Blizzard, have been much fucking worse. So I don't know what's going on over there. They're doing too much cocaine. I wish I did cocaine before watching Silent Hill, because that would have been very interesting. Because the movie was already interesting.
You walked out of it surprisingly not mad.
I enjoyed it.
Wow.
I flat out enjoyed this movie. So Silent Hill came out in 2006. It is it's a horror movie based on the video game series. Yep. Directed by Christoph Gans and written by Roger Avery, based on the series by Konami.
Remember that, written by Roger. Continue. I have a point about it.
Okay.
Summarize the story.
Interesting. So we meet a mom. Mom's got a kid. It's an adopted kid. It's not her kid.
Yep.
I mean, it is her kid.
Yep.
Kid has nightmares and shit. Kid's all fucking woogity-woo.
Yep.
So she's like, we should go to like a magic witch doctor or something. And then they get in the car. And then they go up the Silent Hill.
Yep. They see the sign for Silent Hill, and they're like, holy shit, that's what you've been dreaming about, is the Silent Hill. We should go see the Silent Hill.
Yep, and then a lot of weird shit happens. They get separated. Time and space become weird and relative, and geometry. They do the Inception shit before Inception happened, where the shit folds in on itself and stuff. So we follow Rose, the mom, for the majority of it, as well as a cop who randomly stops her because she thinks she's stealing the kid. And they try to find the kid, because the kid is lost. And then it turns out...
The kid is actually her own grandma.
What?
The kid is like one of 3 different versions through time and space and shit.
No.
Yes.
No.
She was like, holy shit, that's my kid. No, that's my kid.
No,
And actually, she's the demon lady.
No, I will explain it better than you, because you're dumb. So there's this weird... In Silent Hill, before, I guess, shit got weird... There were a bunch of really dope-ass, weird loser Christians, basically. Very sketchy, probably racist. Very sexist. And then
Sounds like Mormons.
True. I bet they do have the special undies. They got mad at a woman who had a kid. I'm assuming the kid was out of wedlock. They were like, this is a demon child! But we have, like, no confirmation of that.
Yep.
That mom... is the crazy old lady in the movie, who's just like damned to be the crazy lady of the town.
Yep.
And then the kid of the maybe demon offspring was yeeted out the window to go be adopted.
Yep.
And then got picked up by Rose.
Yes.
So through however adoption works. I don't know. I was adopted, but I wouldn't know.
But the same child actor played the roles.
Yes. But the child also played the demon.
Yes.
That is... okay, so you were kind of right. Fuck you. The demon creature thing takes the form of the child, mostly probably for cost cutting. So the biological mom definitely was doing some weird shit and probably fucked the demon or whatever. Honestly, who hasn't done that? Like, that's a classic Hellboy story. Like, whatever. Who cares? So she like kind of possesses the kid because of the connection and whatever, and then most of the movie... Like, the first half of the movie is, like, mysterious, the town is creepy, and there's weird stuff going on, and then the second half is, like, a barbed wire kaiju.
Yep. Which
was a fucking bop. This movie is surprisingly violent.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. A lot of the practical effects were really good.
The story...
is almost incoherent.
Originally had all women. No men. And they brought it to the studio, and the studio said, there's no men, and threw it back. So the guy in charge said, alright, fuck it. We'll bring in Sean Bean, and he'll be the dad in the beginning minute, and then the last minute.
Yeah, just having his B plot on the outside, that does nothing.
And then the studio said, we need more men. So they had Sean Bean kind of bounce in and out a little bit through the movie, but his side story does not make any sense.
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't add anything to the story. It should have been all women.
I love things that are all women.
And it was written by Roger somebody. So impressive. It wasn't a woman writing only woman things.
True.
Very good.
Yeah. So like the The twists are interesting, but they're so not either seeded well through the story or explained well. It's really exposition heavy, which it turns my brain off, especially in a horror movie.
Yep.
But like the general plot outline kind of fucking slaps, actually.
It feels like it needed less screwing with, but also like a little bit more focus, a little bit more like, here's where this plot point is actually going.
Yeah,
like, a little more follow through.
Yeah, remove a bit of the studio doing whatever, and then like another couple of drafts to kind of file it down. Another criticism that does go along with that is the runtime is a bit long, and there's some slow segments.
Yep.
And the end boss fight goes on for a while.
That's when I fell asleep. Yeah,
you were a bit sleepy.
I made it through most of the movie, but then the razor wire kaiju exploded and was razor wiring everything, and I go nap.
Yeah.
And I woke up and people were sawed in half, and it was the end of the movie.
Yeah. Pyramid Head is in here.
For no reason but to sell tickets.
I don't even know why that character means anything to Silent Hill. I have no context, so you would assume he's like a primary antagonist or something, but he's just here.
I think he's just a monster type in the second game.
He's just popular or something. He's like the image of the games.
I think it's important to the plot of the second game, but like he's not a common enemy. He's just like one of the big bads, and Weird. He's unkillable, so he's scary.
Weird,
because he's always chasing you with the big anime sword.
True. Yeah. A lot of that, the chase sequences were done really well. The amount of like either miniatures or like set extension and sound stages they did for this was insane.
A lot.
It's very
like 170 or something different sets.
Looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The movie has drip, if nothing else. It has a distinct visual style, which sometimes is a little much and sometimes it clashes with itself. I would say the final kaiju barbed wire fight is where that actually kind of falls apart. Despite that being a great fucking thing, it kind of screws with a lot of the other visual styles in the movie because it's a lot of not super great 2006 CGI all over the place. Still looks good. I mean,
loved how heavily foggy the Silent Hill was.
It does indeed seem like a place that exists nowhere and everywhere.
Yeah, very good.
It was really cool. The performances were all fine. None of them really stood out that much for me.
The cop was kind of annoying, but I think it was poor writing and not necessarily performance.
Yeah, there was a lot of rough dialogue. Not abysmal, but it was just very exposition heavy. Could definitely be simmered down.
The mom, Rose, I think was more of a performance failure a little bit, but still not like the worst thing ever. No. Definitely not like typical horror movie bad.
No. The kid did surprisingly well, I guess, especially for being in so much makeup and in different stages and stuff.
And I read a bunch of behind the scenes of like the mom actor was trying to change lines and the kid actor was like, "No, you stupid. That removes like the biblical meaning to this line. I have to say it that way. Yeah. What are you doing?"
There is also a lot of pretty well thought out symbology here. Like it's a horror movie with a cult in it. So it's already like bastardizing stuff, but like it's pretty coherent in that sense.
Silent Hill is all about trauma, and that's where the enemies are coming from, and all of that, the world building. So there's a lot of symbology in the series. And
you see, it's a woman on the bed who looks like Jesus with the barbed wire, and then she rapes a person with the barbed wire. It gets really over the top sometimes.
But anyway, the child actor played three different roles and did it well, and like seemingly understood the story very much. So better than us.
True. Yeah. I don't know. Like this. So in terms of video game movies, it ended up for me. One, I would watch this again, sober.
Top of the second third, I would think. If I cut my list into thirds, it'd be lower. 1/3, upper.
Yes,
2/3.
That's about where I have it. It is under Detective Pikachu and above the 4th animated Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And that's above Sonic 2.
Sounds right.
So yeah, right about the
Yep.
Really, really messy, but like, bro had the passion behind it, and it had the sauce.
Yeah.
It just needed
polish.
Yeah, it just needed some work on it, honestly. Yeah. Like no like half-assery here. Holy shit.
And we watched it for free on Tubi, I think. Something like that.
I don't know. Somewhere.
One of the freaking spam, but you watch movies for free websites.
Yeah. And then apparently, just as a cool note, we talked about this like a year ago, I think, when it was announced. The director is actually returning for a delay. So there was a sequel. It was Silent Hill Revelation 3D in like 2013. As far as I know, it has no connection to this one, and it's a bit like abysmal.
Yeah, it's bad.
But he had no involvement in that one. But the director for this first movie, and I think maybe the writer, are coming back to do like a half reboot / sequel that apparently follows the plot of, I think, Silent Hill 2 more directly. So especially now that he's had more experience and like gotten feedback and developed and stuff, and we have better technology.
Oh, actually, this movie made a profit too, so that was exciting.
Yeah. So like that, I'm actually very interested in.
Yeah,
like,
I'm excited for that.
Like when that happens in next year, or the year after, like the theater, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like that's like a nice like 20-year long. Finally, I could try it again. Like that's gotta be cool. Like personal, like even professionally, like basically getting a second shot.
That'd be like getting a Sam Raimi 4 Spider-Man 4.
Don't even get me started on that. Overall, enjoyable. Some good gore, some good effects. Just a little muddled.
Got the spirit.
It does indeed got the spirit. He's just a little confused.
Yep. Speaking of confused,
does not have the spirit.
Let's talk about Resident Evil 5.
So, according to Wikipedia, this game came out in 2009, a godforsaken year on this earth.
Yep.
It was announced the year that the last game came out, because that's usually how that works.
Yep.
It was released for the PlayStation, Xbox, 360, PC, whatever, the stuff you'd expect, and then it got a re-release, which I'm assuming is just a port with slightly better graphics for the PS4 and Xbox One in like 2016.
And then it was ported to the Switch.
Yes. It followed the plot. I will directly quote Wikipedia because this is more coherent than what this game was. The plot involves an investigation of a terrorist threat by Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance agents Chris Redfield and Sheva Alomar in a fictional region of West Africa. Chris learns he must confront his past in the form of an old enemy, Albert Wesker, like the guy, and former partner Jill Valentine, who's like the girl.
Yes.
This is not a horror game. This is an action shooter with gore.
Yes. So it brings back a lot of common enemy types. You have the parasitic worm from Resident Evil 4 that has infected the locale. So things like if you get a headshot, it'll randomly pop this big wiggity woo worm out of the head that wiggity woos everywhere and spins around, and it hurts a lot, and it's much harder to kill. You have the weird skinless lickers from Resident Evil 2 and onwards.
The frog boys.
I think they're frog dogs, but whatever.
That would make sense.
I don't know.
I kind of like them.
They're cool.
The design's definitely
They're
cool.
a pain in the ass to kill, and always have been. These are probably the easiest ones to kill.
Really?
Resident Evil 2 lickers suck. I don't think I've even killed one. I just always run by them. They're awful.
Yeah. And then you have your usual T-virus zombie guys who can somehow shoot guns and stuff.
But this game goes huge on like the big bombastic goofy action movies. The zombies are riding motorcycles chasing you, shooting guns. The big boss fight, instead of it being the guy takes the needle and goes, I will become God, and then he gets like an extra arm and like another eyeball, he takes it and then becomes Godzilla. It gets very big. It's pretty common for this
I know. It's just every single boss fight was like that.
There's a big ogre railgun boss fight where both of us had heavy machine guns and we had to shoot the boss in different ways. Literally, we're not moving. He's just standing in front of us trying to beat us up.
Genuinely, like, the worst fucking boss fight in this game.
And then we had another boss fight where we were on a boat with rocket launchers or machine guns, and the Kraken was trying to attack us.
That was the second worst boss fight in this game.
We had to shoot the glowy bits and break his arms off, and he could just hit us because he knows where we are on the boat. It's just There was a car chase, like I said, where we're on a truck, Modern Warfare style, and the zombies are on motorcycles chasing us.
Yeah, and the camera angles fucked that up entirely. You could barely aim at things, so you just take innumerable amounts of damage.
It was trying really hard to be an action movie instead of survival horror.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's okay to try something new.
Yeah.
But it just did everything poorly.
Yeah, pretty much. So very interesting. So, like, the first half of the game was not very enjoyable for the most part. We were making fun of it. We had a couple of streams. If you go check out Jacob's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/HMMurdoch with the O being a 0.
Because I'm cool.
Yeah, because he's cool. There's a couple of those streams that are up, and we did have plenty of fun riffing on it.
I did not upload the last one just because I was in a bad mood to begin with, and then we got our butthole stomped in, and then
I was wondering.
Salty.
I wanted to revisit that, actually. You should put it up. But, like, it started off as, like, just, like, boring and bad, and then as there's more and more boss fights, and then we would get, like, explosive rage, it started getting more enjoyable, not because we were more angry, but because eventually we started to understand, or at least me, I started to understand some of the logic of the boss fights.
The story finally comes together in the end.
Yeah, it is really long, not, like, we completed in probably 10 hours total, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neck of the woods. So, like,
10 or 12 to be generous.
Yeah, but not including a billion death resets and, like, bathroom break. Yeah, 10, 12 hours, which is fine for, like, an action game. That's a pretty normal runtime. But the plot's really thin for that. It's like, there is a threat. Go here, figure out what the threat is. And then we spend the first 8 hours just, like, dicking around trying to find documents that neither one of us were reading and fighting off a shit ton of really racist caricatures of people. And then eventually it's like, oh, this company is working with Umbrella. And then shit starts happening.
The lore bits that we were definitely not reading but skimming through just in case there's an achievement for it. That's in every game. But this one had like 10 or 12 pages for each one. It was just a huge lore dump. And it's
like 10 or 12 per level.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were kind of rare. But once you found them, it was just so many pages. You're like, holy shit, I don't have time to read this.
They didn't seem very high quality to me. As a lore nerd,
they seemed pretty boring.
Yeah, they seemed really, like, half-assed.
And
especially
basic.
Like the, like, investigating stuff. It's like, it's like there's a body hanging from the ceiling and you press square to investigate, and then no voiceover, just text on screen says, it looks like someone was hung by their ankles. They're bleeding onto the floor. And it's like, I could already see that. This was a waste of my time.
Even, I'm saying, like, the documents that you find on a desk, usually in other games, those have helpful bits of, like, here's how to solve a puzzle later.
Or something.
Here's how to kill an enemy type. But this was just straight up Resident Evil lore of, like, Evil Lab did Evil Lab things. It's like, I've read this in every other Resident Evil game.
Right. If they were of a higher quality and it was in a different game type. Like, if this was a, like, mystery horror game, I would be interested, because then I would, want to follow the paper trail and find all the shit. But, like, they just seemed like, I don't know, make up some fake dossier and then put it up in, like, 480p and make it 18 pages. And, like, they did, and they just scattered it everywhere. And it's like, there's nothing to follow.
Honestly, they should have left it out of the gameplay and just had it in the menu.
Yeah, just having a codex.
A manual that you read or whatever. Yes. IGN recently, like within the last month, made a video about... apparently Capcom is teased at the end of Resident Evil 4 remake that they're going to remake Resident Evil 5. They made an announcement before 4 came out that said we're going to keep going. Yeah. But they were not very straightforward about what that meant. True. But yeah, there was a pretty strong hint in Resident Evil 4 remake that they're going for Resident Evil 5. And IGN's point was, how the heckin' are you going to do this? Because it's not a great game, and oh my gosh, racism. Follow me on this one. Which Resident Evil game am I talking about? Big, strong man goes to a new locale completely different from the last game and kills off mindless zombies that have been infected, and then he's there to investigate the infection and finds that the Umbrella Corps had a secret lab that they infected the locals with, and the big strong man has to shoot the bad guy at the end.
Yes,
exactly. So it's cool that this follows the formula of going to a different location in the world. This one's in Africa, and it's bad having big, strong, white cop shoot black guys.
Yeah, it's weird.
This is bad. As a knee-jerk reaction. But that's how the rest of the series goes.
Yes.
So there's
it's
wiggle room to do it again and not have it
absolutely.
bad.
Oh, absolutely. I think my argument more so on that is that, like, we don't meet any locals who are not infected, who are people.
Exactly.
Competent.
Right.
And there's a lot of repeated character models, and there's a good chunk where it's just like we're in African Mayan tombs where it's like a bunch of savages, and it's like, you can easily rework that.
It easily went too far, like with the underground Mayan tombs or whatever. I don't think they even explain what kind of tombs.
No clue.
It seems like a bad mixture of cultures.
Very much so. It's really conflicting.
There were also enemy types above the ground with like weird tribal makeup and shields and whatever, and they legit do the thing like
all the time.
This is bad. This is the bad part that you could cut out. But simply because it's white guy shooting black guy, because we're in Kenya or Africa now instead of Spain or Latveria.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't always have to be white guy shooting white guy.
True.
Or whatever.
Yeah. No, 100%. It is like
there is a way that they can remaster 5,
absolutely.
and it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, and I would argue, because it follows basically the same plot, you could pick this game up.
Yep.
Put it somewhere else. Everything else is the same.
Right.
Even if you want to keep like, ooh, I just came up with this. I'm so smart. If you want to have like sections where you do encounter like local like tribes of like less developed people or whatever, go to Australia. The Aboriginals are cool as fuck, for one. A lot of them are like very civilized. They just choose to live differently, and they're white passing, so that eliminates that problem, to be fair. And like, you can just none of this is relevant to it being in Africa. The fact that it's in Africa has no bearing on the plot.
It doesn't in any of the other games. And I'm saying it's cool to go to these different locations. Yeah. You can keep it in Africa, just use actual African culture.
Or maybe do it in South Africa where there's a bunch of Afrikaners. And then we could just shoot the colonizers. That'd be more fun. Yeah, like, no, 100%. I don't think anybody genuinely believes, like, this is the racism game. It's just like, you did not think this through, did you?
There were...
Like, holy shit, there's no oversight on this.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So it's mostly just funny to point it out, like, as we're playing. It's not like I'm sitting here like, oh dear God, the developers were demons. It's more like, oh my gosh, you guys are dumb. On top of that, another serious flaw, the color grading is god-awful, which also doesn't help with the skin tones. Like, at all. Everyone looks greasy and green or yellow. It's bleh.
Sheva is a local that is like, oh, hi, white guy. Thank you for pulling up to my dock. I will help you through this entire adventure. And that's pretty much her character.
She has boobies. And she has a backside.
It's cool that she's just as...
competent?
Destructive as he is.
Oh, you can do the exact same things. Like, there is no...
Which is probably just bad gameplay.
True.
Because he's a freaking brick.
Right. But yeah, she has zero personality. And I don't think she's in any further material outside this game.
As far as I know, no.
Oof.
And I'm pretty confident on that.
Yeah.
Which is a disappointment. I have a feeling she was only included so that this game could be co-op.
That is the other thing, the major change for this franchise, that this is the first game to introduce co-op of any capacity.
And a lot of the level design is so blatantly made for co-op.
Yeah, like almost every, it's like every other level is they split like a room into 2 puzzles, and it's the same puzzle, but you have to do it at the same time or whatever.
To the end and pull the lever at the same time.
Yeah, and that's what like most of the runtime is.
It doesn't even feel.
They're not even puzzles.
This game was made specifically for co-op, I think.
Yeah,
this is my interpretation.
At least like initially, and then they just made it playable for single player. And
it's not a good co-op game.
Nope. Because everything that you can do can be done easily by the computer AI. Like if you play it single player, it plays the same.
Apparently the AI is bad, so that makes these shitty boss fights difficult, or like the one we were stuck on at the end of the last stream, like impossible.
I mean, it was 2009. We didn't really have great artificial intelligence for enemy design, unless you're Halo.
But I don't know. I just don't understand. There's no direction to this.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a co-op game, and it was forced to be a co-op game, and it's more fun when you play it in co-op, because the single player side of it's not made well to play what they already made for co-op in single player.
Right.
But if they had just cut co-op and made a good single player game like they had been up to that point, it would have been a better game.
Yes.
So there's just no winning with this original one.
I mean, to be fair, that's what most like co-op games do. They are a single player experience, and then you have some level of drop in, drop out, like Halo. Except for Halo 5. Like, literally, you just pop in, you play as a second Master Chief, or whatever.
Right.
Most games do that, and then sometimes they add in some extra puzzles that are different for doing it in co-op, but, like, they basically play the same. It just makes it so you can play it with your friends. Or if you're, like, a Lego game, it's because you have good enough AI that know how to do the puzzles with you. But if you do you double down on it, and then you make an exclusively co-op game, because then you design the entire thing around you. You have to have 2 people. Like, there's a bunch of different fucking games like that.
The inventory in this game was really, really cool. I kind of like it. It's limited to 9 spots, and
everything takes up 1 square.
Each direction on the D-pad fits over the menu. So up is the middle top section of your menu.
The cross pattern fits on top of the grid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in that button slot is
your hotkey.
Your quick key to equip that thing.
That was cool. However,
it's cool in co-op because I don't know. It's a good limit to your inventory. I like it. I was having fun menuing.
Yeah.
Like on the fly, and that's a weird thing to say, but it actually had a good outcome. It's a strange outcome I had, which I think was unintentional, is that any ammo that was in my menu, if you pick it up and put it over the gun that it fits in and then just get out of the menu quick, it just reloads. Almost always a quicker way of reloading than actually reloading.
Yeah. Which
is really cool. I like it.
It's helpful.
It's a fun twist on menuing.
It could be intentional, or it could just be one of those cool. Sometimes games are just big and complicated. Shit happens.
Yeah. I like it.
I
had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. I do think so. This is just a thing because I have less familiarity with this franchise. There are some things that I do think should not have, in most games, anyways, like the same inventory system, like health items. Like, say, I don't know. There's just like something like Alan Wake 2, which I talked about last month. Your health items do fit in inventory on different spots and stuff, but because the game is an actual horror survival game, it makes it tactical to some extent, or at least it tries to.
Right.
Whereas this, because it's an action game, it's like
it doesn't make sense that a test tube full of herbs takes up just as much space as the grenade launcher. Right.
It's like in like early first-person shooters, you could just have like infinite weapons, basically, like Doom or whatever. Or like in the first Halo game, you had a part of your health that would regenerate, like the shield, and then you'd have part that was a health pickup. that got dropped as games got more complicated. Call of Duty had the same thing in the first couple of games. I don't remember how that system worked because I haven't played those in God knows how long, but like it wasn't, you had to get health pickups, but as the gameplay got faster and it turned into what we know of as Call of Duty, they turned it into regenerating health because it's way fucking easier.
Yep.
And I think there's just a better way to do that for a game like this, whereas it's like, yeah, I want to pick up an herb because I'm getting damaged like crazy, but I can't because I have too much ammo. But I need the ammo because the enemies are bullet sponges. You know, it gets frustrating, I think, was my bigger annoyance with that.
What else? I had one more thing on my mind.
I have two. Technically speaking, it's rough as shit. There are way too many QTEs for boss fights, as well as in random cutscenes, which is one of my biggest annoyances in gaming. Is it's like, oh look, a cutscene. I can put my controller down for like 2 seconds, and then wham, you missed a QTE.
Apparently, we could turn those off in the options menu, and I did not know about it.
I do like it when that option is available for like QuickTime events, like like accessibility options of like in turning like a repeated tap into like a hold or a single press. Those, well, yeah, most people frankly just use them to cheese the difficulty. I can imagine as someone who has difficulty with coordination, that's probably a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But like the QTEs, because the cutscenes were rendered in engine, I can't tell what is a cutscene and then what's going to be a slightly interactive cutscene, and they come out of nowhere, and the button prompts are almost always randomized. And I'm also not a PlayStation user, so I'm confused. And like that just, especially mixed in with the boss fights or the co-op the co-op choices like opening doors or pushing over chests or whatever, the timing is so off, and the like way you have to line things up is incredibly stupid and precise. And then if you fuck it up, you end up being like, come on, and you do a little fucking animation to yell at somebody, or like you start reloading or whatever. Like it's time consuming.
Yes.
There should be like a bigger margin of like sensitivity, like a bigger hitbox for prompts, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
A semblance of sense.
For sure.
Like, not just to make it easier, but because like I really feel like half the time I fucked it up was because the game was either too quick or it was a random button and I didn't know which fucking button it was. And sometimes the buttons would change for the same action.
Yes. Like the fight against Jill Valentine where we had to hold her down and try to rip the mind control thing off her chest. There was a button prompt for Chris to what did it say?
Restrain.
No. Plea to her to snap out of it. But it was also the same button prompt to actually grab onto her and restrain her. And it was such a close proximity in between the two that I ended up talking to her more often than actually grabbing onto her. And it was very frustrating. Especially because talking to her doesn't do anything.
Seemingly, yeah. I do think, so I guess to loop back around to the positives, so the boss fight that we had the most amount of pain with is also the one that I actually like the most.
It had a lot of thought put into it.
Yes. And you
had to strategize on the fly.
The big goop worm monster with the explosive barrels.
That returns in Resident Evil 7. I'm so happy.
That would make sense why it seemed a little familiar.
Yes.
That's cool. And I like how its phases worked and the variety of weapons you had to use. But frankly, because of the fucking graphics of the game, it's really hard to tell what's going on. Whether it's like, is that glowing orb its arm, or is that its like testicle, basically? Like, that sort of stuff was extremely hard to tell. And
the blackness of the slimy ooze that he's made up of swallows the laser pointer, so it's really hard to aim at the glowing bits that you have to shoot. And even then, there's ooze over the glowing bits, so it's like so many times I swear I fucking hit it.
It's overly designed for a graphical style that it can't do.
Yeah.
It's just it got too big for its britches. It wants to be in 87K and like super precise, but like based on television size, the computing power of the system, and like the lighting engine, you just can't really do it. Like, I have no problems with shadow characters in shadows in horror games. That's a pretty common thing.
Yep.
But like, that was just, the room wasn't lit in a way where I could tell like the depth of field, because the goop was always moving and not in a good way. It was just too confusing.
Yeah.
But in like, if you lay it out on paper, that was actually a pretty fucking cool boss fight. And once we figured it out after probably an hour in total and a couple of Google searches. The final playthrough was fucking great.
Yeah.
It just took so much to get there.
It didn't really telegraph well what you had to do.
No, not at all.
And once we understood it, it was fun trying to tackle it.
I need more yellow paint, is what I'm saying.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm joking. And then the other one was, I kind of liked the Wesker boss fight at the end, quote-unquote boss fight. It was frustrating because we were stupid and didn't get it, but, like, before you have your fight with Jill Valentine, which was dog shit, the, like, weird cat and mouse thing, if it had better AI and better, like, environment detection, I think would have been a lot better. Because that just... choosing to either you can...
He literally says, I have 7 minutes to do this before I gotta go. And the point of the fight is to just run away from him and hide.
Yeah, either you run away and hide and find stuff, or you just lay into him to kill time. Either one works, especially because you don't need ammo to take on Jill. And that's not the final boss. That's like the penultimate fight, I guess.
Yep.
But I thought that was kind of okay, at least, again, on paper.
Right.
And I think that's most of the major decisions for this are like... On paper, at least I understand why you'd want to do it, even if I don't like it. But the execution is so sloppy.
Yep.
I'm impressed that this game got such a warm reception at launch. Like, it wasn't, RE4 levels, but, like, this was not panned or anything. It was, like, fairly popular.
I bet it was starstruck from 4.
Probably.
I think that's what I think is going on.
Probably. Overall... I don't like it that much.
Nope.
I had fun playing it because we played co-op and we were screaming.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was very fun in co-op, but it's very fun as the same way as like watching a shitty horror movie.
True.
You're just poking fun at it and making your own fun.
Right. I will, at some point, I do plan on playing through the entire Resident Evil series. Not for this show and not in the way that you're doing it, but I will do that because it's just a series I'm not really familiar with. I have played 7 and I think some bits of 4, and I just like cultural osmosis stuff.
Yeah.
So I do want to go check it all out so I get a better idea what the fuck's going on. So I will replay it and not completely bemoan it now that I have a better idea how the thing works.
Yeah. Cool.
It's rough though.
Yep. And the next one's worse. But then it's good after that, so we're more than halfway through. We're almost there, boys.
Good thing is that the next one is all on you, Chief. It's got nothing to do with me. I ain't touching it. I don't even know her. I would never.
So yeah, actually, if you could play that one and co-op with me too, that'd be great.
Fuck you in the butthole. To be fair, the game I'm playing is not going well either. So,
Good.
So I probably have enough time to do it. I do offer up my services, but also, fuck you.
No, I'm just gonna speedrun it in story mode.
Yeah.
Because it's bad.
Yeah.
We missed. Well, actually, no. Resident Evil 5 is the one, and I'm kind of glad we're gonna push through the last chapter because this is the one where the big strong man has the quick time event where he punches a big rock.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
For context, we're through like 85% of the game, and we're on the last like 2 levels.
Yep.
What?
Big strong man
he does monkey
punches a big rock.
I fucking love that.
And it made the news when the game came out.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so stupid. I love it.
Yes, that's why it made the news. It's like, look at how stupid this is.
Sometimes I don't like living, and then other times I remember that humanity's so stupid and depraved that it makes me want to kill myself. And then there's other times where I remember that humans are fucking awesome and we're just all like weird retards, and I love it.
So you're telling me you want to punch a big rock?
I've always wanted to punch a big rock, and now I can do it in a video game, so I don't actually like shatter my arm. Thank you for listening to this very weird episode of Dime Gaming Bros. A big thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/Dime Comic Bros Network. Caitlin and Jeff Lorenz have been around for a long time.
Yep.
They give us support every month. It's greatly appreciated. If you could throw us a couple of bucks, help make the show better, we'd appreciate it. There's a whole bunch of cool different tiers and subscription rewards, including early access to the podcast when I edit it on time.
Nope.
Shut up. I try. Early access, usually, to all of our podcasts, which almost always are up early on Patreon, as well as you get your name shouted out, like we just did.
Well,
a bunch of commissions done by our buddy Colin, the third bro in the Bros,
yep.
Who's on our main show, Dime Comic Bros.
Sometimes.
Yeah, 2/3 of the time.
Go half.
No, it's 2/3 of the time. That's the ratio. We have a number now. It's set in concrete. as well as a bunch of really cool stickers, all designed by Colin, and other cool fun stuff, and exclusive access to Dime Comic Bros and Dime Gaming Bros Happy Hour, where after pretty much every episode, we crack open a beer. Jacob has a glass of wine because he's a wino now.
No, I put a whiskey over the whiskey store.
Yeah, we have a drink. We talk about random bullshit. It could be an extension of the episode, or we could be talking about
your mom.
Yeah, sometimes my mom comes up. Sometimes it's politics, God forbid. Sometimes...
Oh, no, we try to avoid that one.
It could be anything. Just whatever comes into our stupid little pea brains. And that is exclusive to Patreon. Also, subscribe to our Substack. It's on the Substack website. That's where Jacob, every week for our regular show, puts a bunch of cool, pretty pictures and fun words and recaps our episodes. And when I get my shit together, which is not very often, but only sometimes kind of, sort of ish, then I try to do the same thing with this show. It's just harder because I'm dumb.
He doesn't word as well as I do.
That's not true. I retype your shit so often and you never notice.
I do notice. I just let it go.
Well, yeah. I love fixing typos. It's my favorite thing. Also, on our Substack, we're going to be starting to invest a little bit more time and effort into that in terms of expanding what it does, what that means. I don't know yet, but it is in the books or on the books, something. We're working on it.
It's happening, maybe.
So, we highly encourage, send a link to all of your contacts for us. It's free, and it actually helps us because we see you guys and we appreciate it. A big thank you also to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. We normally spend most of our time reading comic books if we're not playing video games. We like comic books and the comic book movies and the manga and the M&As and the foam swords and the Legos and all the nerd shit. And Jetpack has a crap ton of all of it. They're our local comic book shop, so please make sure you support them if you can, and make sure to shop local, especially for comics. Don't give Lex Luthor your money unless you absolutely have to. Unless he has a kryptonite dagger to your throat, fuck Lex Luthor.
I would not be surprised if he actually had a kryptonite dagger. He'd be like, yeah, dude, I got this cool weapon. I don't know what it does, but I have it hanging over my kitchen sink because it glows green.
You mean Jeff Bezos?
I found it in space while I was up there with my boyfriend.
True. 100%. Tune in for the next episode of our podcast. The next podcast that's going to be available is Dime Comic Bros, where we're going to be talking about Extremity Volume 2 with Colin. We'll all be here. We're going to talk about art and violence and all sorts of other fun shit.
Tune in then.